Fear. It's a force that shapes much of our existence, often in subtle, unnoticed ways. It can loom over us like a shadow, whispering doubts and limiting our potential. But here's the paradox. Fear thrives on something it cannot exist without language. The words we use to define it, the labels we place on it, breathe life into something that would otherwise remain a raw, intangible sensation. In this exploration, we'll confront the very nature of fear itself, stripping away the familiar comfort of words to see what fear truly is beyond the labels. Let's delve deeper into how language not only identifies our fears, but might also be the very thing that keeps us shackled by them. As we peel back the layers, the question arises: can we truly be free of fear if we don't first break free from the words that define it? Are you able to recognize your own fear as a human being? Is it possible for you to sit there and carefully study your fears? We have lots of time, so take your time. Check it out. Fear of dying, of being alone, of the unknown, of losing one's job, one's position, one's vitality, one's energy, one's insecurity about one's intelligence, verbal skills, and general cleverness compared to others, and so on. To be aware of it, to observe it, please pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Does the very word evoke a dread response, or does the concept of fear pre-exist? Have you grasped the essence of my query? Is the mere use of the word fear enough to make one feel afraid? Alternatively, does the concept of fear exist apart from the word? Please. This will help you determine whether you're really committed to achieving complete psychological freedom from fear. When we grasp the concept of psychological freedom from fear, our biological fears take on a whole new dimension. Ain't no way. Internal fearlessness is followed by the biological intellect that commands, do this and don't do that, as we will see in the next section. Conversation regarding psychological dread needs to start first. Therefore, we want to know: do you immediately label your feelings of fear as fear when you notice them, and is the word itself not the issue? Tent does not refer to the physical structure. Therefore, the word itself is irrelevant. Am I correct? Am I correct? Oh, please. Therefore, is the word fear accurate? Is it possible for reality to pre-exist the word? Because we are ensnared by language, knowing the answer is crucial. There has been a meteoric rise in the significance of words, symbols, and meanings. Can you, therefore, distinguish between the word tent and the fact that it describes? I talk about this and explain it using the word tent, but the word itself isn't what this is all about. Am I correct? Is it fear, then, that we're following? Or is the emotion distinct from the word? Because every single person lives in constant terror of the unknown, of what the future holds, of the mistakes of the past, of his own actions or lack thereof, of his own hopes and fears. It is of the utmost importance to discover this. We all have to deal with the continual fear of pain. Physical pain, mental anguish, psychological demands and frustrations. Either way, he wants to achieve and fails. For 1 millennium, we have coexisted with it. Since man has not yet found a solution, he puts it off, dodges it, or even runs away from it. In this case, we want to know if you can detach the word from the emotion, or perhaps the emotion is a product of the word. If the word were to disappear, the emotion would likely vanish along with it. Do you see the point? I implore you to grasp this. Assume for a moment that I'm terrified of public speaking due to health issues. Nevertheless, I assure you that I am not afflicted with any such disease. So you need not be concerned. I am not afflicted. Imagine if I'm foolish enough to desire to express myself while I'm frustrated by my cancer diagnosis. I'm scared I'm not winning. Moreover, I am terrified of biological pain, as well as frustration, deep wounding, and hurt from being unable to express, since it has been I'm scared. Well, I'm not really scared, but I am making an assumption. because I've been doing this for at least 50 years. Now I'm wondering if the term itself is the source of my fear. Is this emotion independent of anything else? If the emotion is real in and of itself, then what exactly is it? You get the sense that there is no tomorrow other than the agony and everything else. Therefore, the sensation is the feeling, right? Feelings are sensations without words, but when words are added, they transform into terror. Could you perhaps record it? Is it clear to you? It seems to run in your family. It is something I will say again. Look at it. The word is always associated with the item, you know. Anytime you hear the term tent, an image of a tent, big or little, colorful or plain, immediately pops into your head. To disentangle meaning from reality, this fact is not the right word. Am I correct? That is easy. Fear is something that every single person on this planet is familiar with. It's a terrible thing that has plagued humanity for millennia. Additionally, when you're scared, you contract your muscles, lose your vision. Contract your muscles, lose your vision, become paralyzed, and feel like you've lost it all. Promise you. You're familiar with that sensation. Instead of paraphrasing the speaker, which serves no purpose, you should figure out whether the emotion is distinct from the word, in this case, fear, and whether the word itself is evoking the emotion. If the emotion is distinct from the term, then the emotion is present. However, identifying that emotion transforms it into terror. And it's a thrill when you don't even mention its name. Am I correct? Plus, use all one of your senses to take in that feeling. Do you comprehend my point? The mind has grown so entangled with language that it is unable to perceive reality. Concepts and symbols are its home, and it avoids dealing with concrete reality as much as possible. We use words to describe terror, yet the emotion is indescribable. The moment we give dread a name, we give it authority and shape, and in doing so, we erase the pure, unadulterated feeling of terror. The emotion is just a passing experience without the word to describe it. Things don't become scary until the mind gives them a name. Our emotional investment in language is the key. Because of our habitual responses to these labels and symbols, we often fail to grasp the true nature of the emotion they stand for. When you express fear by saying, "I am afraid," your mind starts to conjure up all sorts of situations, conclusions, and future projections. But suppose the most basic kind of terror is just an immediate, unprocessed feeling, unrelated to anything that might happen in the future or any particular word. Actually, the only way to truly understand fear is to separate ourselves from it. Fear may seem less suffocating if you watch it without naming it or using the term to describe it. It devolves into something you can observe, something you can feel without being engulfed by it. The trick is not to conquer your fears, but to observe things objectively without letting your imagination fill in the blanks. And now we reach the second obstacle, being afraid of running out of time. To be afraid of the future, of what may happen, and of the unknown. How exactly does this fear manifest? I don't think it's grounded in the here and now. In the face of ambiguity, it makes predictions about the future. But what does the dread of the future look like when we remove the words tomorrow and the future from the equation? Is it just a mood, an anticipation, something that hasn't happened yet? The door to a profound realization is opened when one understands this. Fear thrives on time. We are only left with the present moment when we take time out of the equation. And at that place, we may feel fear for what it is, a fleeting emotion that doesn't need us to cling on, free from the burden of previous mistakes and the uncertainty of what lies ahead. Eliminating the terms and titles from fear makes it more like a passing feeling than an intimidating force. We can defuse its force by seeing it dispassionately, detached from the story we've constructed around it. Acknowledging fear for what it is, a fleeting, changing feeling, not a set reality. Rather than denying or fleeing from it, is the path to genuine freedom. Realizing that fear isn't an adversary to be overcome, but rather a normal reaction to uncertainty occurs when we detach from the word fear and instead establish a direct connection with the raw feeling underneath. Feelings of terror release as a result of this realization. We are no longer paralyzed or controlled by it. It starts to sink in that fear isn't the boss of our lives. It's just a passing phase. When we train ourselves to keep our emotions and thoughts separate, we make room in our hearts and brains for love and acceptance, and fear begins to go away. Here we are free to respond as we choose, to be bold and clear in our actions, and to let go of the myths that hold us back. Being able to feel fear, comprehend it, and then let it go without letting our peace go is more important than being fearless altogether when it comes to finding true freedom. Realizing that fear is just a fleeting emotion allows us to break free of its grip and experience more presence, serenity, and agency in our lives. If you want to continue on your journey of self-discovery, make sure to subscribe to this channel to assure living more in the present moment. Reply with the word "now" in the comments if this message resonated with you, and if you want to continue growing in the future. Also, consider giving this video a likes or sharing it with someone who might benefit from a gentle reminder to slow down in life and be more awake.